I'm gonna have to do this in segments to get it up on the internet. But if you're wondering why I'm wearing this god awful woman's jacket, that's because Joey Fenton and Sylvia Castillo, and most likely Michelle Fenton, ripped off nearly everything I had, including like clothes, toothbrush, even cocoa butter, little batteries, you name it. The first incident of theft and robbery happened between 1/1/2012 and 2/12/2012. And then I started exposing the truth of what really happened, which is that I was assaulted by a lunatic who's had a prior case history of assaulting people for no reason. I've even got her criminal records that Harry Keane refused to acknowledge or argue in court. Um, but we'll get to that. Basically, on the what was it, the 28th of January, um, I came back up to my camp, and Sylvia had been putting these threatening, delusional notes on my SUV. I had about 20 cups of coffee that day, so I was a little perturbed and revved up, you might say. It was just a bad time for her to do that, and as I was calling 911, of course, she takes off on her bike to get away. Well, I'm thinking, oh great, now that she's not here, they're not even going to believe me. So, of course, Officer Slack comes up, he got a little argumentative about a woman, oh, you've got a restraining order against a woman, like, are you a pussy or something, and laughing at me, kind of like making jokes about it, and not believing that she's a threat and that she can be dangerous, and kind of ripping on me about it. And finally, he read all the paperwork, and I told him that by law he had to arrest her, and he didn't seem to like that too much. So he goes, well, if I find her, I'll arrest her. Well, obviously he didn't find her. I assumed, all was going to be well, and what was it, 2-3? It was actually late Thursday night or early Friday morning, in those wee hours, when most people are sleeping, when Sylvia decided to come by again and violate the restraining order. Only this time, I had been urinating a lot, not knowing that she had given me sexually transmitted diseases, because I found out later on that she wasn't just panhandling by Smith's, she was selling her skin for cash so she could get meth. I had suspicion she was back on meth. That was part of the reason why I broke up with her. And anyways, she basically snuck into my camper while I was sleeping, all drunk and smelling like she hadn't showered or bathed in weeks, like she'd rolled in a dumpster. And I awoke to her attacking me, punching me, and this and that. So I managed to, you know, grab her hands, and a wrestling match ensued, and I got her out of the camper, and she came at me again, and I managed to have some. I put some pepper spray by the door just in case, because of what she had written uh, on those notes, which are all on the internet. So I pepper sprayed her. She dropped to the ground. I called 911. Officer Trumbull, Officer Gray, and about 12 other officers in an ambulance came up, took pictures of the marks on my head from her, the knots, and gave me an ice pack and this and that. And they all applauded me in the sense that said, hey, that was done by the book, good job. We acknowledge who the bad person is, and they started to realize that it wasn't me. I'm going to have to pause this to get to the next level here, so bear with me. Part 2 is coming up.